Great to see you. I'm Mads Bond. I'm founder and CEO of Labster that I started around 6 years ago. I came from Denmark in Europe to Harvard Medical School and was surprised that there was phenomenal talent, phenomenal teachers, but the methods they used were the same and I've seen previously. We've gone from there, and we're now in more than 100 universities across the globe and have developed our platform with MIT and other leading providers. Let me start with some of the challenges that we see in the world today. We see the world is changing extremely fast, and at the same time, education has not changed at the same pace. We see that science education is documented in numerous reports to be boring and ineffective, and there are studies in the US, this one from Nature, that 60% of science students they drop out or change to a humanities or non-STEM degree, and it's seriously both hurting the economy of the universities and the society as a whole. What we have done to solve part of this problem is to develop a fully simulated 3D learning environment that I can show you here. It's like students on their laptops or in virtual reality. They go into a fully fledged virtual laboratory, like $1 million Harvard lab. There's underlying mathematical simulations developed in collaboration with MIT. So students, they can actually get different results even though they're doing almost the same thing. We've integrated this in a way so students can use it at the school or they can use it at home. We have seen in studies that they actually get the same learning outcomes because they're handheld throughout the experiments. And at the same time, we have integrated so you can zoom in at the molecular level, see what is actually happening when cells divide, what happens if you mix things in the lab, and relate that to the theory. Here an example of a dangerous experiment. It's an explosion in salmonella bacteria. There's a lot of things that's incredibly important for learning that you cannot do in a real lab, and that translates to other subjects as well. All of this we've integrated with the quiz questions that feeds into learning outcomes and analytics into LMS platforms as well. And we've wrapped this, we have 70 labs now that all has this case story. Here a polluted lake where you have to figure out what's gone wrong. A cancer patient that's dying, you have to diagnose in the lab and report to the doctor. And here a crime scene investigation like the CSI TV series. But one of the things we've seen in a lot of EdTech apps is that you have the fun parts, and then you have the learning parts. And what we have worked hard at is to integrate those two. And one example of that is if you talk to a detective in the lab, for instance, or sorry, in the crime scene, you don't waste time on talking about what's the color of his shirt or something that could be fun. You talk about what is DNA, how do I use this DNA to solve a murder, and then all of these things hit on the learning goals delivered in a various of different ways. And this summarizes some of the different aspects. So one of the things we've done from the beginning, the first 4 years of our history, we worked closely in R&D mode, collaborating closely with leading universities. And also a lot of those universities have published research. The one on the left here was a randomized controlled trial where the students were split in two groups. Half of them had the traditional teaching, and half of them had the lab simulation. And what we saw was a 76% increase during the same time frame if they used the lab simulation, and the combination even stronger. But one of the things in the study here on the right that really fascinated me, there's a lot of graphs here, I'll just point out one of them, is that we saw that the lowest performing students, the most challenged ones, were the ones who performed or improved the most. And that's reversed to lectures or most teaching textbooks as well, where often the lowest performing groups are lost early on in the intervention, and then it's very hard for them to get back on track. And this is something that we're using now on a lot of challenged school districts. We have a number of universities and science companies as our clients globally, from Asia and especially here in the US. And at the same time, we have really focused on developing a platform. So you can go into this lab on a laptop, but also in virtual reality, that can really, you can say, broaden the spectrum and the horizon of what you can do with this technology. Oh. So one of the things that we've really focused on is to build this underlying simulation technology platform. So what I just showed you before here is in the lab. We have now the possibility to use this underlying platform to develop more virtual labs, but also to other parts, like business schools, like leadership learning, interacting with a simulation. And that's possible through the platform that we've built here. You can see here, this is an example where you're in a browser and you can drag and drop the different elements, and then you can actually create 3D simulations yourself and deploy it to the platform. I can highly recommend, I only have 7 minutes in this talk. There's a TED Talk by my co-founder, Michael Bodeker. Now has more than 1 million views. It's 10 minutes long, and there's more depth if you're interested in following more. So that's a brief story from me. Thank you very much.